Well, thanks, Emma. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to today's IATM webinar. My name is Sam Mullins. I have the honour of being the president of IATM at the moment. It's good to see a number of new faces on this call. Today's webinar is being delivered for us by the Czech Postal Museum. We are recording it, which you need to know. We're going to run a video about the creation of the postage stamp in Czech Republic. And then if you want to ask some questions, Petra and her colleague from the museum are available afterwards. The person you'll see in the video, of course, is Gigi, who IATM board members know very well as one of our board members on IATM. So I'm going to hand over to you, Petra, and ask everyone else just to turn their microphones to mute, please, so we don't get any feedback. But thank you, Petra, and over to you.
Hello, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us. So I will try to share the video, and I really hope that you will enjoy it. And if you have any following questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. So enjoy this webinar. Now.
It's good.
Dear colleagues and dear friends, I welcome you to the Postal Museum Prague. When I came to the museum 5 years ago, I was aware of a collection documenting the history of the postal service. That's mean the old coaches, uniform, etc. But I knew almost nothing about the postage stamp collection. And so the biggest discovery, for me of course, was the collection of postage stamp art designs and the process of their production. Our philatelic collection preserved the entire process of Czechoslovak and Czech stamp production since the founding of independent Czechoslovakia in 1918. After all, our Postal Museum was founded on December 18 as the first museum in the new Czechoslovak Republic, on the same day that the first Czechoslovak postage stamp was issued. Therefore, when my colleagues and I discuss about the topic to choose for the IATM webinar, we decided to introduce you to the live process of creating a postage stamp, which we document in our museum. Because the creation of a stamp from the art's first designs to printing in a printing house is a relatively long process, we had to pre-print today's webinar in the form of a document. I invite you on the journey of creating a small world of art for everyone. Thank you for joining and making time for us.
In general, it can be said that the postage stamp is a relatively accessible graphic miniature that is mass-produced, often in runs of many million bases, on socially wide demand. The precision of design can be comparable only to the production of banknotes and other securities or revenue stamps. From the very beginning, the best artists, engravers, and printers work on postage stamp. In the film, we can see a concentrating Max Schwabinsky and one of the best engravers, Bohumil Heinz.
Známky jsem začal dělat, tuším, v roce 2003. Teď zrovna dělám známku Moliéra, což je velice zábavné téma. Zadání bylo ta známka a obálka prvního dne a razítko. Tady se známkou jsem se trochu mořil do toho podlouhlého útvaru toho nacpat co nejvíc. A to je právě u těch známek je je takový problém, aby ta známka byla na jednu stranu bohatá, ale na druhou stranu musí být čitelná. To je drobnost. Ta známka bude tisknutá offsetem a obálka prvního dne FDC ta bude dělána rytinou, takže ten podklad pro tu FDC je tužkou kreslená a rytec pak to převede do té rytiny. No a tady tu offsetovou známku, tak ta je dělána jak tužkou, tak pastelkama. Je to taková dětská disciplína pastelky.
No, já jako kluk, řekněme 10letý v Plzni, jsem se rozhodl, že budu sbírat známky. A netušil jsem, že když potom půjdu na volnou nohu jako kreslíř ve svých 30 letech, takže jednou přijde nabídka, abych nějakou kresbu udělal na známku. Jeden z nápadů bylo třeba, že jsem velký žokel, že uděláme podstup, protože jsem vymýšlel nějaké věci, kterými se Česko může chlubit. Že? Byly tam židleton, dělali kolegové a další české příspěvky světu. A já jsem říkal, ale český jazz prostě byl prostě už za první republiky a hlavně pak v 60. letech jako na evropské špičce, tak mě to odsouhlasí. Já se jenom modlím, aby poštovní známka jako užitečný předmět a zároveň artefakt, aby přežila, ne? Protože v rámci celé ty digitalizace mám o její osud obavy.
Základem je taková skica vlastně. A takovým stylem takovou skicu já potom zpracovávám detailně, že tu kresbu dělám precizní potom, nebo snažím se dělat precizní. A pak řeším, jak jsem předtím ukázal, ty barvy řeším až nakonec. Ono to vypadá, že ta známka se dá udělat za 10 minut, jo. To není pravda, já jenom ukazuji princip samozřejmě. Jo. To se takhle nedá dělat, takhle rychle. To je práce velice zodpovědná a důležitá. Proces je v podstatě takový, že já udělám tu známku úplně v definitivní podobě. Většinou je to takový nějaký typ, kde je to 1:6 a musím k tomu dát samozřejmě i zmenšeninu originál, musím to vytisknout na kvalitní tiskárně, což většinou tady doma nemám, takže musím být někam, kde to udělat kvalitně. A to je v podstatě návrh pro komisi. Jenom pro komisi, která to buď to schválí, nebo chce něco upravit. A až je to definitivně podepsaný od těch komisařů, tak se teprve dělá příprava pro tisk. Ta příprava pro tisk v případě rytiny se udělá zvlášť typografie, zvlášť barvy a zvlášť černobílej návrh pro rytinu. To je v případě, že to je rytá známka. V případě, že je to offsetová známka, tak to většinou v té formě, kterou já takhle odevzdám, se to dá ve vysoké kvalitě na počítač a převede se to do té tiskárny, kde oni už si to nějak neupravují. Možná jenom, že se to převede do toho PDF systému, aby se ty křivky, aby tam nebyly ty čtverečky a ty nedokonalosti. Čili to jsou dva způsoby, jak se ta známka odevzdá.
Při přípravě poštovní známky obálky prvního dne nebo rytiny vůbec jako takové, my používáme technologii, kdy vlastně nejdřív připravíme vlastní kresbu, podle které potom vzniká ta rytina. Vzhledem k tomu, že na známkách většinou pracují dva autoři, jeden autor udělá návrh a druhý grafik potom provádí tu vlastní rytinu do té ocelové desky, tak je snaha od toho rytce, aby přinesl ten návrh přesně podle toho, jak ten výtvarník nebo ten autor ten návrh vytvoří. To znamená, my musíme dodržet i ten rukopis, který každý výtvarník nebo každý autor má jiný. To je pro nás trošku někdy problém, protože se musíme nějakým způsobem vcítit do toho autora nebo do toho autora toho návrhu. A ta vlastní rytina potom musí připomínat i ten rukopis toho původního autora. Ta rytina samozřejmě je potom mnohokrát menší, proto se ta kresba dělá veliká, abychom tam postihli veškeré detaily, které je potřeba. Když je ta kresba hotová a jsme s ní spokojení, tak tu kresbu potom zmenšíme na formát velikosti rytiny a ta kresba se přenese na kovovou desku. Na té kovové desce už vyrýbáme speciálními nástroji ten vlastní obraz. Ty nástroje jsou vlastně velmi, velmi jednoduché a používají se od 16. 17. století stále stejné, není na tom moc co měnit. Pokud se podíváme na vlastní rydlo, tak to je vlastně velmi jednoduché zařízení, kdy v držátku je prstínkem stažená vlastní rycí nástroj, který je z velmi tvrdé oceli. To je způsob, který používali Postal nebo Albrecht Dürer. Co se týká dalších nástrojů, tak samozřejmě používáme občas i speciální hladítko. Hladítko používáme v momentě, kdy potřebujeme nějaký detail zahladit, nebo když potřebujeme nějaký detail vyleštit. Další nástroj, který používáme, je speciální jehla, samozřejmě zase velmi ostrá a z velmi tvrdé oceli.
Vzpomínám na rytinu, když jsem měl doma obraz takovým impresionistickým podání, autoportrét, a tam jsem dlouho přemýšlel, prostě, jak se toho zhostit. A 14 dní jsem chodil jaksi okolo toho a jenom přemýšlel, až jsem jaksi dostal odvahu se do toho pustit. Pak už to nějak šlo, ale vzpomínám na to jako na práci, která mě uvedla ještě trošičku dál v tom zpracování té vícebarevné rytiny. tahle rytina zabere tak 3 až 4 týdny. V podstatě každá nová známka přináší prostě nový pocity a nový jaksi sepětí s tou prací.
Jakmile je deska vyleštěná, rytina je hotová a připravená, můžeme přikročit k vlastnímu tisku. Teď máme desku zatřenou barvou a z povrchu je barva setřená. Teď si připravíme papír, který musí být navlhčený. Se dal vlisovat do těch linek, a aby vytáhnul z těch linek tu barvu. Takže tady je už výsledný tisk z té desky.
Je, že ten rytek nebo ta pošta přijde ke mně, pošle mi nějaký obrázek, buď fotogalerii, nebo si to umělec vytvoří sám, jo, nějaký obrázek. Já vemu ten obrázek, mým úkolem je vzít ten obrázek, udělat z toho bledou a ta bleda se vrací zpátky k tomu ryci a udělá tu konkrétní rozkresbu. Když udělá tu rozkresbu, jde to ke mně, já to zpracovávám na správnou velikost, správný formáty známky. Když to zpracuji, udělám z toho destičku a tam mu naznačím tím naleptáním, kde má rejt, on si to vyryje, jde to znova k nám, my si to ochromujeme a pak to jde.
Czechoslovak postage stamps have been printed in the same way since the 1930s. In general, we differentiate between 3 basic printing techniques: relief, intaglio, and planography. The most frequently used technology for the printing of Czechoslovakia postage stamp is rotary steel printing combined with intaglio.
Dobrý den, vítejte v tiskárně Hradišťko. Je to tiskárna, která se nachází na soutoku Sázavy s Vltavou. Tiskárna vyrábí poštovní známky pro Českou republiku a pro Slovensko a je vyhledávaná právě proto, že máme ocelotiskovou techniku. Tak, známka svatá Ludmila je speciální v tom, že je tištěna 3 technikami. Je to vlastně potom ta bílá holubice, která je tištěná sítotiskem a pak na to vlastně přijde ocelotisk, to je tisk z rytiny. Známka je speciální v tom, že vlastně je to poprvé, kdy se známka tiskne těmahle 3 technikama.
Multicolor offset is usually first in line. This technique is very fast and can be used for large sheets in high print runs of stamps. Offset has therefore gradually forced out the more expensive rotary steel printing, combined with intaglio on Wifag machines. Depending on the needs for other printing techniques, it's necessary to deal with other specific processes. The printed sheets should be cut up into the required formats with a number of predetermined units of postage stamp sheet. In the case of mini sheets, where there is an assumption of steel plate printing, it's necessary to press the cut papers from one side so that during manual insertion into a machine, they do not get deformed. This pressed part is also cut off after final printing. A steel plate engraving is printed on a white machine, which requires extraordinary concentrated, precise manual operation. Every individual mini sheet is one by one, in fast and precise cooperation, inserted into space, where the part with an engraving is printed under pressure. Machine operators constantly check the status of specially mixed intaglio ink, the correct skimming of ink from the print plate, so that the ink remains only on the engraved places and does at regular intervals. The print foreman has to check that all parts of an engraving are sufficiently clear. The printed sheets are placed on plates, which are inserted into specially designed frames from drying. In accordance with the pre-designated issue plan, a decision is also usually taken on which technology will be used for printing. For example, the first day cover. In this case, we can think about screen printing, which will be used for the very first time. Printing is done using a golden cover, and it's also necessary to insert every envelope maximum concentration by master printers, even in the current print runs in tens of thousands. The runs for stamps issued today are in the hundreds of thousands of units. In recent history, there were often several hundreds million units. Counter sheets or mini sheets are then perforated in 4 to 5 units. And this again requires a specially trained operator equipped with infinite patience. In the end, they cut to the required forms of counter sheets. The output quality control uses strong magnifying glasses and manual final recounting of the individual counter sheets. The Department for Documentation of Stamp Creation at the Postal Museum in Prague has been involved in collection activities since its opening on 18th December 1918, that is for over 100 years. The current depository meets all the standards for the ideal storage of collector's items. All production documentation is stored here, over 4,000 catalog numbers of postage stamps, from artistic design, engraving and printing plates, imprimaturs, color tests, occasional postmark, etc., as well as final products, postage stamps, mini sheets, first day covers, occasional mailing cards, etc. There is a wide-ranging sub-collection of stamps from international exchanges in the Universal Postal Unit. Today, Prague's Postal Museum administers almost 19 million carefully recorded and stored collector's items concerning stamps. The items stored often have a significant value linked to our nation history, such as in the case of the first Czechoslovak postage stamp in the Hradčany by the famous Art Nouveau printer Alfons Mucha, issued in 1980. All the items, from postage stamp to printing plates, color test, black and white prints, postmark, etc., are subject to double records and are designated with a record number for easy searches and control. A separate subcollection comprises numerous awards from art and printing of Czechoslovak and Czech postage stamps, over the more they include the most beautiful stamp in the world. Today, new stamp issues are put out constantly and require professional acceptance, careful packaging, and correct storage in a non-acidic archive packaging and boxes. Print plates and engraving plates for stamps and first day covers have their place. All these plates are subject in the museum's research room and library. All collections are made available to the professional and lay public, and artifacts are often used for exhibition purposes. Every item is easily with inventory ledgers, catalogs, and last but not least, fast electronic records.
Great. Thank you, Petra. That was intriguing. I guess we take stamps for granted, and we forget there's so much work goes into their production, and a bit like when Gigi started that video, alongside the big story of transport and communications is the parallel story of art and design, which I for one find fascinating, and it's particularly rich in many of our museums. Does anyone have questions or want to open some discussion with Petra and her colleague? Well, let me start with one before someone else dives in. It was very noticeable, Petra, that the artists and the engravers in that video are older men. Is this a dying art, or are young people also picking up these skills?
Well, unfortunately, we have to say that that's not too many people would be interested in this job. So I'm thinking how many we four or five, let's say. So probably all of them have been in this webinar. So and I don't think we have any younger working with us, because it's I'm afraid that we cannot offer them that much, the job that often, that would give them, I'm afraid I have to say, enough money to survive. So
okay, thanks. Kimo, are you going to make a point? Yeah.
Well, yes, sure. Thank you. Yeah, in many of the countries, I mean, we have actually, likewise here in Finland, we have given up the engraving process and moved to use kind of a new technology. Well, of course, we are investing heavily still on safety printing and looking for various kind of possibilities how to print special stamps. But you seems to be carry on this traditional work of engraving and this process. And have you been have tried other options for printing the stamps, or have there been discussion? Because it's very as we saw on the film, it requires a lot of work. It's not very low cost printing. It's really quality printing, and it requires all these huge workload of an experience from these people. So what is the situation right now in Czech Republic? Are you discussing with the postal business about these new options, how to print the stamps?
you mean except those three we have shown in the, okay, just give me a second, I need to check with my colleague.
Okay.
No, I'm afraid that we got stuck in those three, and I'm not aware that there are any other possibilities, or we are not aware of them. So I'm afraid I have to say that we still have.
It's not a pity. I mean, I do respect your high quality work. I mean, it's a pity that most of the countries have given up those processes.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry that my colleague is giving me some information because I'm not informed of everything, but as it was said also in the webinar, and the other two, the rotary printing and intaglio, we don't use that often because it's very expensive here in the Czech. I don't know how is it in your country. So at the moment, probably we would focus mainly on the last one, on the offset printing, and other two we won't be able to use anymore that often as we would like to.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think in Petra, in this country, in the UK, there has been a boom of young artists using, engraving as a brilliant, means of expression. So I guess there are still people available who could do that work for stamps, and those skills aren't just used, of course, in producing stamps, but in generally as artistic expression. So it's not a lost art, even if stamps have to move on to offset or more modern means of production. Are there any other questions in the room before we move off? Okay, let's draw this to close. A big thanks to Gigi and to Petra for giving us a really interesting insight into the complex world of the production of something as apparently simple as a stamp. I, for one, hope that we're always still in the business of sticking a stamp on a letter rather than something more digital, because I love that that means of expression. We've got our next webinar is on the 7th of December, when we're going to bring you a Christmas extravaganza live from Covent Garden Piazza with contributions from, well, I hope Lucerne in Switzerland, from Tampere in Finland, and from Nuremberg. And so we're going to have some fun on Christmas at 11:30 London time and 12:30 Central European time on the 7th of December. Deliberately a bit more light-hearted than usual. So we're going to be wearing all our Christmas pajamas and all our Christmas merchandise from the shop. And we've got some Christmas musicians joining us too, and some great features from around the IATM family across Europe. And then we're hoping in the new year to introduce a new series of webinars around decarbonisation and around sustainability for our museums, which is going to be obviously such a big issue for our cities and our countries in the coming years. So thank you very much to the Czech Postal Museum for today's webinar. Thank you for joining us. We will circulate the links afterwards for you to see this recording again and to share it with your friends and colleagues. And that's all for this afternoon. Thank you very much, Petra. Thank you. Yeah. And bye-bye to you all. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.